This is a village in a mansion on top of an ancient city with a stronghold in it. I know it sounds impossible, but that's just one of the 19 super rare Minecraft seeds that you're about to see. Starting with this seed that spawns you on an island with 2 villages. That might not seem crazy on its own, but if you look closely, the village on this side of the island is actually an abandoned zombie village. These two generating right next to each other at spawn is already rare enough on its own, but to make it even better, there are 2 ocean monuments within swimming distance, and a mushroom island to the west. But this village has a feature even rarer than some zombies and cobwebs. There's a house that generated here completely floating in midair, without touching a single part of the ground. I didn't even know something like this was possible in Minecraft. Whichever villager lives here better learn some parkour, because otherwise there isn't a chance they'll ever make it inside this house. Moving on, this world contains the coolest dungeon you've ever seen. A spider spawner, a skeleton spawner, and a zombie spawner, all within just a few blocks of each other. Assuming you don't die to the massive swarms of monsters, this room has 5 loot chests for you to collect, and it could be prime real estate for building yourself a massive triple mob farm to collect all sorts of loot. When you spawn into this seed, you'll be in the mouth of a cave, but if you make your way past this lone cherry tree and over the snowy peaks, you'll be able to set up your base on the most gorgeous lake, enclosed by these super tall mountains, and with this awesome cascading waterfall to complete the aesthetic. And you know what's even cooler? If you go over the mountains in the southwest, you'll find this amazing mountaintop village. You can then walk to the highest point of the village and dig straight down. And guess what? You're right on top of an ancient city. Amazing. On the complete other end of the spectrum, this seed will spawn you in the middle of the ocean, with only a few blocks of land and a single birch tree to get yourself started. This one's for all the hardcore survivalists out there. I hope you like eating fish and kelp. If you have this seed and come across this desert pyramid, then after you jump into the treasure room and collect all of the loot, be sure to just mine down a few blocks when you're done, because guess what? You'll be able to pop down right into the stronghold, next to the end portal. Isn't that crazy? You should make sure you have some Eyes of Ender on you though, because the portal is completely empty. Regardless, it's amazing how easy it is to actually access this stronghold. It spawns so close to the surface. Clerics are great, because they can give you items like glowstone, ender pearls, and XP bottles. That's why it's probably a good thing that this village has 5 churches all clumped up next to each other, and that means 5 clerics for all the ender pearls you could ever want. Despite how lucky that is, there aren't actually any chests in this village for you to loot, so I guess you could call that a trade-off. It still looks pretty amazing though. This mountain monster is an incredible example of how completely random terrain generation can sometimes create amazing shapes. The dripstone caves right next to the spawn point on this seed bears an uncanny resemblance to a big toothy face, and the massive dripstone pillars inside make it even scarier. In the belly of this beast, you'll find some extensive dripstone caves that go on for a while, even poking out the other side of the mountain. This is absolutely one of the coolest seeds of all time. This next seed takes 4 of the most useful structures in the entire game and puts them all in one place. A village smashes right through the front of this woodland mansion, creating all sorts of weirdness, like half beds, floating dirt paths, and this church that gives you direct roof access. Then, if you dig straight down, you'll find yourself in the middle of this awesome ancient city that has a stronghold generating straight through it. Look, the portal room literally generates on top of this ancient city bridge. It's crazy. The inside of the stronghold looks so sick when it's covered in skulk vines. Exploring this area in survival would be so fun. It's absolutely chaotic. The spawn point on this world gives you an incredible view from the edge of an incredibly long cliff face. The entire gulf is surrounded by these beautiful cliffs, and it's all perfectly framed by the incredibly tall and spiky mountains in the distance. Over those mountains is an even more extensive mountain range, with a cool ravine that transitioned this savanna into a jungle, and another cliff face on the opposite side with this huge cave by the water. This seed gives you so many scenic locations to build in that the hardest part will just be picking where you should start. I've seen shipwrecks spawn in all sorts of weird places, but I've never seen one spawn like this. You see those spruce blocks right there? Yeah, that's an entire ship buried into the side of this hill. It would definitely be a ton of fun to dig this entire thing out in survival mode as a little archaeology project. Though that being said, it does make me wonder, how could a ship have even gotten buried like this in the first place? Weird. The next world also has a silly thing buried under the ground. This village seems pretty normal at first glance, but travel into the caves below and you'll find this random farm just sitting there. No No path blocks surrounding it, no house down here, just a single plot of farmland in this cold, damp cave. Don't they know that plants need a little sunlight? Come on, guys. This is the prettiest dark forest biome you're ever gonna see. The trees and mushrooms look amazing as they cover these tall hills that surround the lake. And from above, you can see there are two rivers that cross and create a giant X right next to it. Some of those rivers themselves are in these deep valleys, which are so magical to sail through. The whole biome just has so much variation in height, and I really don't think that the dark forest has ever looked better than this. Right at the spawn of this world is a complete mess of mashed together structures. A ruined portal generated here, wiping out the entire interior of this jungle temple, so there are no booby traps or treasures inside it anymore. It's just a wall now. It also went through these desert village structures, and as a result, this poor camel has been trapped under a bunch of stone bricks. And, on a minor note, unrelated to that whole situation, this farm has nothing beneath it, and the water is just magically floating there. What a weird seed. But this structure combination is a different story entirely. A pillager outpost spawned inside of a desert pyramid, and it's just so close to being perfectly centered. At the bottom of the pyramid, one of the chests has an enchanted golden apple, and at the top of the outpost, you can get 2 armor trims and a goat horn. But it's not really about the loot on the inside, it's about how wild this thing looks from the outside. Prime base opportunity if it wasn't for all the pillagers. This seed contains the largest mushroom island in all of Minecraft. Oh, well, this obviously isn't it. This is just the spawn point. You actually have to swim 600 blocks to the west, and once you arrive, you'll be blown away by just how huge this island really is. It's over 1,000 blocks wide, and as you explore this vast mushroom continent, you'll come across several azalea trees, which you can use to farm yourself some wood without ever having to leave the island. And since hostile mobs can't spawn in mushroom fields, you're completely safe to develop your base anywhere in this entire area, even underground in the caves. What a fungal paradise. The mushroom island in this next seed may not be nearly as large, but it certainly wins some major style points. Located at the exact center of the world, this island is a giant ring enclosing a massive lake. That's already cool in its own right, but get this. In the middle of the lake is an ocean monument. Seriously, it's a truly epic sight to behold, although this monument might seem a little less mysterious and special when you realize there are 2 more just outside the ring, and you can see all 3 of them at once with your render distance set to max. But it's still cool, okay? This canyon village is full of some pretty amazing features. Across from a vast cherry grove biome, you can see part of a village built by a cliff edge, but look down and you'll see several houses built at the bottom of the canyon, with lovely waterfalls cascading along the overhangs and some really nice dripstone caves on the village path. It's surprisingly scenic, despite how messy it seems at first. This dark forest sits on top of a giant hollowed out mountain, and inside is the biggest, most open, lush cave you've probably ever seen. The cave goes straight through the mountain, so there are several openings to the outside world. There's simply too much to talk about with this amazing spawn. The massive open fields of moss and clay is just stunning. There's a whole second level beneath the main part of the cave, and for some odd reason, there's this single patch of ice at the top of the mountain. With some mob proofing, this would be an amazing location for you to set up your base. Not to mention the endless supply of axolotls you'll have from living in a place like this. So cute. The sources for all of these seeds will be in the description, if you'd like to try any of them out for yourselves. Let me know which of these seeds was your favorite down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.